before you go. Someday you'll know. Someday you'll know. Already know what I'm going to say. I've been feeling this way for far too long. And now you're gone. Took me away from all of my fears. Kept me away from all of my tears. Now you're gone. And now I'm lost. Finally, I think I can see clearly now. I'm in love. Think about me one more time before you go. I'm in love. Took me away from all of my fears. I'm in love. Kept me away from all of my tears. I'm in
I've said it many times, I know I would change my ways, I know for sure. When all the crows decide to meet, they settle down beneath my feet. I've got it right and I got it wrong, but I learned my lesson hanging on. Come sit here with me by the fire and let it go for a little while. So be here as the night starts falling. Let my fingers walk over your head. We got nothing to be scared of. I'd rather be with you than by myself. Now all is in your hands. When I was young, I thought control would lead me to an ending road.
Smile,
So special.
Beatrice.
family time, friendly day.
Beatrice.
All of the times we spent with you, we're Beatrice.
Beatrice.
Tomorrow we're gonna be there too. We're Beatrice. We're Beatrice.
Beatrice.
You've known us all along.
Beatrice, you've known us all along.
Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, hump day. Today's show is brought to you by Beatrice. I don't know if any of you remember that commercial, but when it showed up, it was freaky. there's like all these people saying Beatrice. They're using all these different products that we thought were like different companies, but they were all under this umbrella of Beatrice. I think maybe it might be when the scary clown thing might have started happening too, because they had that clown and it just said Beatrice. It didn't even say the word. It had no voice. It was frightening. Let's see, Todd Lee Hall. I thought Seagull said mine, mine, mine. At least that's what they said in Finding Nemo. Happy hump day. Yeah, so Seagulls, Verna says they were saying crackers, crackers, crackers. You know, they do, seagulls do have a language. And they're all talking to each other. In fact, you know, obviously they're in flocks. And there's usually somebody in charge. One of them's in charge. And so they're yelling at everybody. So that's they might be saying crackers, or they might be saying, get over there, get going, come on now, we got a show to do. This show is Lunch Therapy. I've got a testimonial from one of Chuck's friends, Mike. Here it is.
Say it again, please.
I think Mike is being coerced.
And demonstrate that what it is. It's that in through the nose, through the toes.
That's great.
Very good. That is a lunch therapy.
I learned it all from Joel at Lunch Therapy.
All right.
Thank God.
Lunch will never be the same again.
Never.
I like how Chuck. Thank you very much, Chuck, for that, and thank you, Mike. Mike is a very successful entrepreneur, taking time out to thank the Lunch Therapy crew, using lines prompted to him by Chuck. So I appreciate that very much. Super fun. This background, Chuck shot as well. So this is Chuck Show. This is the Chuck Show. Anyway, we're going to get into this thing, and it is called Lunch Therapy, and today is Wednesday, Hump Day. Just to continue the Beatrice thing, I don't know if anybody saw that commercial back in the day. Came out in like 1984. You know, just when we were a little bit freaked out as it was. You know, George Orwell had set us up for this horrible thing that was going to happen in 1984, and then this commercial comes on the TV, and it is about some huge conglomerate that owns every product that we ever used, and they thought it would be a good idea, but apparently it was not, because people did get freaked out. The company ended up, it had been around since like, I don't know, early 1894, I think. It had been around for a long time. Suddenly it started getting bought off. The whole thing fell apart. It was defunct by 1990. So yeah, you don't want to show your hand too much when you're a giant conglomerate owning everything and sucking up the world. So happy hump day. We're going to breathe now, because that's what we do on this show at the top of the show. We're also going to do a meditation in the show, but not now. We're going to do it later, which is a crazy idea. Pam is here. Hump day today's show is going to be relaxing. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be different and very eclectic. So, you know, let's get into this breathing here. You got that background again. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. In through the nose, out through the toes. Let it go. I'm very excited because Friday is Interview Friday, and I have the amazing John Keister coming on. John Keister was a local comedian when I was in high school and college in Seattle. He had a show. It was called Almost Live, which was like the Saturday Night Live of Seattle. In fact, it preempted Saturday Night Live for a while because it was the local station decided it was maybe a little better because Saturday Night Live was kind of on the rocks at the time. We had Pat Cashman on the show earlier on, I think about a month ago. He was a delight. John Keister is his boss, right? I think it's his boss. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Yeah, Almost Live was a live show that they did from the local King 5 television station, which at the time, a lot of my, role models came from there. So John Keister was one of these role models. There's a lot of Seattle humor, so we'll probably be going over some of that stuff. And also introducing him to maybe people that don't even know about him, which is, I don't know how that could happen. He also had a show on Comedy Central. One more breath, and we're going to get into the show. In through the nose, out through the toes. Yes, it may not have even started yet. Hold it. Let it go. Today we're going to do some healing because this is a weird transition period that we're in, I think, for a lot of us. I know a lot of comedians here in Los Angeles. They're starting to look towards doing more shows out in the public. A lot of people are vaccinated, but it's scary. You know, it's kind of, I don't know. It's been a big change. I don't think any of us. I never realized how I would become changed by staying home all the time. And it's going to be a transition. It's going to be a super, super interesting transition. It might be a new beginning, but I want us to be prepared for that. And that's what lunch therapy does. Lunch therapy gets our mind right, our body right. Let's get into this. I want to show you a couple things. I'm taking a bath. I hope you guys don't mind, but I like taking baths. It's just one of those things that I enjoy doing. Behind me, I have Todd Lee's Moose Lodge, some elk back there, just to kind of relax everything, make everything kind of natural. I probably should not be bathing with my clothes on, but this is a public show, so I'm going to continue to do that. When I started dating my now wife, and I told her that I like to take baths, she was sort of like, I don't know if that's a macho thing to do. She obviously didn't know what she was getting into because, I might not be the most macho guy. I don't know. Jury's still out on that one. But I do like to take baths. And I think other macho guys like myself also like to take baths. And in fact, Joe Thornton, my friend Joe Thornton, I don't know. He might like to take baths. Who knows? We're going to have to ask him. I'm going to get him on the show at some point. But I just wanted to point out to you tonight, he's going to be in a scene of the show Snowfall. This is Wednesday night, April 21st on FX. And it's kind of a dream of his because he, as a performer, always wanted to work for a show that was done by John Singleton. And now this show, Snowfall, was a John Singleton show. And this is, after John Singleton has passed away, he still managed to, get his dream. So, yeah, watch Joe Thornton. He's a longtime friend of mine. We have some crazy stories. We used to work together in a server room years and years ago. Scarface took baths. Thank you very much, Jack. Does Jack Franklin? I've got something I want to show you all with Jack's new project, his project that I think you'll all enjoy. Todd Lee, let's see what he says. I do not enjoy sitting in a tepid pool of my own waste. Yeah, that's some people. I think that's the thing. No baths for me, and definitely no group hot tubbing or Turkish bath. Crazy story. Please seals the deal. PTSD. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I don't really do the hot tub thing because Had some bad experiences with the hot tub, I'll tell you. Maybe I'll get into it, crazy stories. But also, this is going to steal the deal for you, Todd. I don't mean to, prove you wrong, but Leonard Nimoy liked baths. You see, obviously there he is, an animated GIF of him taking a bath. I don't know if Jack Franklin likes baths, but I want to show you this amazing project. Amazing. I try not to use the word amazing, but I'm going to call this an amazing project. And it is called Apocageddon. He and Josh Daigle, young, hilarious. I don't know about young. Yeah, younger than me. He makes this great show. It's called Apocageddon, and I'm going to show you a clip from it because they've allowed me to show you a little clip of it. Here we are, Apocageddon. This is on the YouTube channel Bleep Tube. Go over there and subscribe. It's just brand new. So here we go.
I don't even know why you're mad.
This is Apocageddon.
Jack, winter is coming.
What?
This is just a clip I chose.
Is coming.
I don't know what that means.
Come on. Remember Game of Thrones?
I never saw that.
You've never seen Game of Thrones? We've been walking for hours. I can't believe you made me crash the car by never watching Game of Thrones.
Well, sorry that some of us had lives before the apocalypse.
That's his life before the apocalypse.
Well, are you busy now?
Nope.
Well then, brother, let me regale you with a tale. A tale of a Game of Thrones. The hero of our tale is a total badass that I would totally be proud to call Road Bro. His name is Peter Dinklage.
Whoa.
So that is just a clip from Apocageddon. And I also hear rumor that there might be a new really interesting character that's coming on Apocageddon. So stay tuned. Go over there and subscribe. There's 3 episodes up there now, but there are going to be a lot more. And perhaps the characters might even take baths. I don't know. It's just, I don't want to get anybody excited. Todd says that it has to do with his family night at Tubbs on Roosevelt when he was 11. Tubbs, I believe, was a place you could go and you could rent out a hot tub and just hang out in there. It's like a little room you could hang out in, and apparently Todd went with his entire family. I think you'll have to tell that crazy story sometime if it's worthy. Let's get into this. I have some things that I want to show you, really interesting stuff, and it's going to help you get out into the world, prepare to depart the cabin and walk out in the world. So here we go. This is the first thing. This is a place you can go where you can practice walking and remembering what it's like to walk out in the world. If you haven't, if you're like me and you've been stuck in the house, this is at the Met. It is a 360 project in the Great Hall of the Met, which is a wonderful museum, Metropolitan Museum in New York City. And you can simulate walking. And you could even, transfer your weight back and forth while you're walking. It's just like being in a museum. Really quite wonderful. So I highly recommend that you go over there. Take it easy, though. Take it one step at a time, literally just one step at a time. Don't overdo it. You don't have to do the whole video. Here's some guys, you're kind of close to them. They're not masked, so that might be kind of traumatic for you. So just, take it easy. And if you get too crazed, you can always go over to the Oregon Zoo website and watch some beavers. This is a beaver. Filbert is his name. He's at the Oregon Zoo. And for his birthday, they got him a wood cake. A cake made out of wood. I would have chosen pumpkin. I would have put some pumpkin on there. But it's still a pretty good cake. And they got some fruit. Fruit and wood. I don't know. You know, I don't like to have fruit with other things. Yeah, I don't like to have fruit and chocolate. I don't like to have raspberry and chocolate. It's so gross. I don't like to. I don't imagine I'd like fruit and wood, but this guy, he loves it. He loves it. I love the Oregon Zoo. I don't know if any of you frequent the website as much as I do, but Oregon Zoo, if you're ever feeling like anxiety or freaking out, or you know, this is something I've got to show you, because this is another thing that's going to help you, help renew some of your love for society and the world. So a lot of you, you know, yesterday we got a little bit of validation that there is some justice in the world. And, you know, sometimes though you look at the news and you're like, what have we learned? Are we going backwards? What's going on? Why is it so horrible? This world that we're living in, and is nobody learning anything? And this video actually is a kind of a proof that we have learned something. It's a commercial from 1970.
There's one person nobody can resist, and that's a baby. So love made Baby Soft, with the innocent scent of a cuddly, clean baby that grew up very sexy, informing bath, body lotion, body powder, and body mist. So innocent it may well be the sexiest fragrance around. Loves Baby Soft, because innocence is sexier than you think. For your baby at Christmas.
So,
Liftoff in 5.
So that was the most warped commercial I could find out there. And it makes me think, if they were showing that commercial back in the 70s and people thought it was okay, then maybe we have learned something as a society. I hope so. I hope that the world is getting smarter, but I don't know. There's not that much proof. I had to look really hard to find proof. Oh my God. She was hanging in the room with us at YouTube. It's very creepy. It's creepy. It's so creepy. It might be the greatest commercial ever. Is that Twiggy, Charles? I think we have to watch that again. I know it's redundant. I don't think it's
There's one person nobody can resist, and that's a baby. So love made Baby Soft, with the innocent scent of a cuddly, clean baby that grew up very sexy, informing bath, body lotion.
Anyway,
Liftoff.
What is that all about? Okay, so this is another virtual reality thing. So let's say, you know, you've now watched some beaver eating wood and fruit, and you're feeling like, I think I can try to venture out there again. Or maybe you just are just one of these people that is just like, I'm going to go all the way. I'm not just going to go right back into society like, you know, one step at a time, or stick my toe in the water. I want to go all the way. And if you want to do that, you can actually, you know, train to become an astronaut. Did you know this? I didn't know this. This is the NASA Commercial Crew Program virtual
NASA
tour.
probably doesn't make you think about a conference room. But each year, the best and the brightest minds gather together for hundreds of hours, sharing ideas and making plans. Unassuming rooms like this are the birthplace of our greatness. The same can be said for the Commercial Crew Program.
Become an astronaut.
Hi, I'm Joshua Santora, and today I'm going to take you on a tour overviewing the Commercial Crew Program. What is it, what are its goals, and why you should care? I'll be explaining all the places that we visit, but be sure to take a look around and enjoy the view. Are you ready?
Know about this.
Let's go. We're here at one of the most impressively engineered runways on Earth.
Move around.
That's right. Runways
see
aren't
it
just
all.
giant slabs of concrete, they're engineered structures. This one in particular was meticulously engineered to be one of the flattest, straightest, and most level runways on Earth. But why are we here? This is the Space Shuttle landing facility at NASA's Kennedy Space Center on the east coast of Central Florida. This spot in particular is special because this marks the end of the Space Shuttle program. Back in 2011, the final shuttle mission flown aboard Atlantis landed here and came to rest at this very...
See, Jack, this is the thing, is this is going to explain to you why NASA is SpaceX. That's one of the things I couldn't really figure out what was going on, and I still am not quite clear on this, and we'll have to clarify this on another show, but why is there SpaceX, and then there's, you know, all these other companies, Virgin Space Tours or whatever, and there's all these other companies, but they seem to be working somehow in conjunction with NASA, and it's because NASA, you know, stopped. And I was like, what happened to NASA? Did it stop doing space exploration? Well, now it's working with these commercial
This was
companies.
the last time we had sent humans into space from American soil. This is where the story of the Commercial Crew Program really begins. The goal was direct. Invest in US-based commercial companies to enable safe and reliable transportation to and from the space station.
In the companies.
This has also freed up NASA to be able to invest in a heavy lift capability while maintaining that valuable research aboard the space station.
See, there's SpaceX.
The early phases of the program focused on finding out what companies were out there and who was far enough along in their development that, with help from us, they would be flight ready in a relatively short amount of time. This is an example of the ultimate engineering design challenge. And at the heart of any engineering challenge is solving a problem. NASA established an end goal and the criteria that it would use to evaluate the ideas and concepts that were submitted.
We need a comedian on this show.
From there, it's up to the commercial companies to prove they had a realistic and achievable path to success.
Everyone needs comedians.
We knew there would be iterations of design and iterations of construction. That's engineering. And those iterations will ultimately lead us back to American-based crew launch capabilities. Let's go find out more about our destination.
Right, so you got to go.
We've now traveled about 1,000 miles.
I don't know why I'm advertising this. I just was so confused as to why there's SpaceX and then there's NASA, and now this kind of clears it up. But the other thing is you can become, you know, a part of this program, I guess. Maybe someday, you know, there's still hope for you, Jack. You could fly to the moon, perhaps, or, you know, maybe even Mars. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, you agree. Yeah, everybody needs comedians. Hey, I got an idea. Let's send a giant phallic symbol to Mars. Said by every rocket scientist at least once a month. It's so true. Jim Carrey stuff, Ask the Universe. Is that like on the Jim Carrey channel? Because Jim Carrey is very, very, I would have to say he's enlightened, perhaps. Or, you know, some might say he's, someone was trying to tell me that he lost his mind, but then I started listening to him and I'm like, no, I think he might have found it. Could be. You have high blood pressure. You know, they'd figure it out. If they can put a person on Mars, they can certainly figure out putting a person with high blood pressure on Mars, right? Early stuff. I don't know. I heard an interview with Jim Carrey recently on, I think it was on WTF. And it was quite, I mean, he seems like, I don't know. He seems right in there to me. Like he's really getting some stuff. So let's move on to the next thing that I want to show you. He opened his mind. Yeah, I think he opened his mind, which is something that I'm interested in, you know, opening the mind, seeing what else is there, seeing what's available. Anyway, so just by contrast, no, I'm not going to show you Jeff Bezos. I'm going to show you a duck playing the drums. You have to bring your own grapes. This will open your mind, for sure. This duck playing the drums, I don't know how long for sure. Probably not very long before I get kicked off. So anyway, that was that. If you ever want to go check that out, this guy's name is YTP for Life. I don't know if it's his video. And this is a guy with a duck head playing a drum in a still shot. So I'll let that play out a little bit here while I check in. Jim Carrey got typecast and depressed. He this, but I think Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is like one of the best movies of the last couple of decades. I can't keep track of the decades, so I don't know which one it was in. Now I want a duck. Yeah, those ducks can play the drums, man. There's a lot of animals that can play drums, but ducks, they might be the best. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a meditation. Can you believe it? We're going to do a meditation in the middle of the show. I don't know what is going on here, but I think Jim Carrey has maybe influenced me in some way from wherever he is. He's probably doing one of those things where he's astrally projecting into the show. Wouldn't it be great to have Jim Carrey on the show and just find out what's going on with him? I think that would be cool. I think we ought to make that a goal of the show. What do you think? That's the goal. That's our next goal. Great thing about goals is you don't always have to achieve them, but sometimes in attempting to achieve them, you get something else. Get some other thing that you didn't even know you wanted, or maybe you didn't even think you could attain, you know? So I always say, shake an apple tree and you might get a pear. I don't know if I've heard that. You know, if I heard that from somebody else, I certainly did not make it up. But shake an apple tree, you might get a pear. But you got to shake the trees, right? Matt Wright is here. We have not brought up Jonathan Livingston Seagull yet, and we are getting there for sure. We're going to talk Seagulls in a moment, and we're going to talk. You know, we're going to move on in the Seagull world, of course, and one of the things has to do with Jonathan Livingston Seagulls. A pair of apples. Yeah. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Interesting. Yeah, you got to be out there squeaking your wheel, right? I was telling somebody the other day, who's somebody younger than me, who we were texting back and forth, and I said to him, you know what? Sometimes you gotta make the bad stuff before you get to make the good stuff. So you better start making the bad stuff. I was like, dare to make something terrible. Anyway, and I think that's true. You know, I think sometimes we just have to dare, because a lot of times we do not do things because we're so afraid that it's not going to be good enough, you know, that it's just somehow, you know, not that we're not good enough, but like we see ourselves as like this great writer or this great singer or whatever. And that's the way we see ourselves in our mind. And then sometimes what we do, we don't feel like it matches our potential. So we don't do it at all. And you know what? You got to allow yourself to make some stuff, and it might suck. And just be okay with that. Because, you know, like they say, you have to fail a million times before you succeed. So there you go. Where did Neil say ass? Jefferson's moving on. I love the Jeffersons. Go start at the bottom. Yeah. So anyway, so let's do a meditation. Yeah, we're going to do a meditation right here in the middle of the show. No one does that, but we do it here at Lunch Therapy. So here we go. Here's the meditation. This is a meditation from the Meditation Initiative of San Diego. And that is a nonprofit organization, and they put this meditation on their website, and I'm going to perform it for you. So here we go. As you settle into the natural rhythm of your breath, knowing throughout the practice you will hear sounds inside the room and outside. These are not distractions. Simply what's happening around us as we sit and breathe. So start by taking 3 deep breaths. And close your eyes if comfortable, or have them slightly open. Begin to notice the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought. Gently guide the attention and the focus to the stomach or chest. As you breathe in, feel them rise. Breathing out, feel them fall. Simply continuing this practice, observing sensation of breath, notice the mind as it wanders, release that thought, turning the attention and focus to the breath. Breathing in, follow the breath in. Breathing out, follow the breath out. The mind wanders. Gently guide the attention back to the breath. Letting go of expectations or judgments of your practice. Just breathing. Learning to be comfortable with stillness. Knowing to be comfortable with stillness. Knowing what it is like to just sit and breathe. Again, taking 3 deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. In through the nose. Notice the breath coming in. Notice the breath going out. In through the nose, out through the toes. Slowly open the eyes. And slowly begin to move. This is the part of the show where we are going to talk about seagulls. Seagulls are carnivores. Sorry about that, Loretta, but they're carnivores. They work as a team. Thus, the flock of seagulls. They sometimes will all just stamp on the ground, stamp on the earth. And why do they do that? They'll stamp because they want to make the worms under the earth think that it's raining. And the worms will come to the surface, and then they eat them, of course, because that's their food. There's also some interesting things about how they will actually go up really high and they will dive into the water and go underwater and catch fish. Yeah. They eat mollusks. They will take mollusks, shellfish, and they will throw them around till the shells break. And both the male and the female sit on the eggs. They take turns. Yeah. And you know, a lot of us have noticed that they have a red dot on their beak. And I always thought it was just the males that had the red dot, but apparently it's both the males and the females. And it's there so they can, when they go to feed their young, the young, they just tend to peck at that red dot. They're like, what is that? What is that? And so that's how they get the food out of the mouth of the seagull. And so that's kind of fun. I want to see what's going on in our chat room here. I think meditation would go better without foreplay of the ducks playing bongos. I think you're right. Maybe. Hey, Jay Patterson, meeting with Steve. Say hi to Steve. Steve Rosenfield, one of the great comedy teachers. He's been on the show. Seagulls grab shellfish and then drop them from high up. Yeah. They mistake rocks for clams and drop them on skylights. Good times replacing all that glass is what I'm thinking. And I'm right, glass. Matt says, when I was at Whitman, it was so strange to see a flock of seagulls so far inland. No seaside in Walla Walla. But there is garbage, which appears to be the main attraction. So, yeah, so started me thinking about that. Garbage and seagulls. I remember the Super Bowl when the Seahawks were playing the Denver Broncos. I was driving to a friend's house in Pasadena to watch it. And I'm kind of inland. I'm not that far inland, but it's a 20-minute drive to the beach. And I was on my way there, and I looked up in this tree, and it was full of seagulls just flying all over the place. And I took that as a sign that it was the Seahawks' day. And it was. But I think, and they killed the Broncos that day. It wasn't even a question. But some people have told me that sometimes when the seagulls are inland like that there's going to be some kind of an earthquake or something. Some kind of bad thing might be happening. So it's definitely, we should listen to the seagulls, which is the title of the show. Should we listen to the seagulls? I say yes. Hi, Steve. Mask up. Mask up. Maybe we can learn something from seagulls. Let's feed our kids with laser pointers. Yeah, we could paint. Well, we don't tend to feed our kids that same way. Laser pointers, it's a good idea. Jay says, I love the tapping on the ground for the worms to come up. My dogs eat dead worms on the sidewalk after a rain. Have you ever seen that after a rain? In Seattle, you see that a lot. There's worms and slugs and all kinds of things. So, of course, it brings up this band, Flock of Seagulls. We can't talk about seagulls without talking about this band. Some people may not know this band, the Flock of Seagulls, but of course they are known by that hairdo. The band is now back together. They were even touring before the pandemic. They seem like really cool guys. Apparently that hairdo came about, they were about to go on stage, and one of them, the lead singer, he had his, had his hair all spiked up. And the hair was all spiked up, and one of the other members of the band came and just smushed it down. And then all of a sudden, the manager was like, you have to go on stage, you have to go on stage. And they ran out on stage with his hair like that. And apparently, Mike Score, the lead singer of this band, wore his hair like that until he lost it. Now he's bald. Yeah, he's bald. Maybe doing your hair like that leads to hair loss. I don't know. But apparently they went out and he had his hair like that, and the crowd was like, yeah, they were doing like the rocker devil sign, and because his hair was kind of doing that, which is weird. And the other thing that's weird about them is they're from Liverpool, just like the Beatles. And they actually got the name of the band from two things. One, they were at a concert, and it was like some band that I don't know. I don't know what the band was, but the band was like, me see. I might even know somewhere here. Yeah, so 2 of the members were in the audience, and there was this band called the Stranglers. I don't know if you ever heard of the Stranglers, but the Stranglers were playing this concert, and they had a song called Toiler on the Sea. And in the song, the guy yells out, just suddenly in the middle of the song, yells out, "Flock of seagulls!" And when he did that, he pointed directly at 2 of these band members of the band that would become the Flock of Seagulls. And he just went, "Flock of seagulls!" And they were like, "Oh, I guess that's the name of our band." And they also say that they named it after the book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And I don't know if any of you know this book, but very popular book. I decided to look into it because I had never read the book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I thought maybe, I didn't think it was really about a seagull. I thought it was about, a person, and maybe that was his name. Let's see what's going on down here. Same with rice. Don't feed uncooked rice to the seagulls or any bird unless you're Ginny Sykes. Yeah, because they blow up, right? Let's see. Oh, Matt said, I heard if you fed Alka-Seltzer to the seagull, it would explode. No way to expel gas. Oh, here's another interesting fact about seagulls. Seagulls can drink both salt water and fresh water. And the way they drink salt water is they have this gland above their eye that actually filters out the salt. If you can believe that. That seems like, one thing that I've found doing this show is every animal is interesting. So yeah, same with rice. Flock of seagulls. I do love them. Synth rock. We just called it rock. I think we called it new wave. Wait, it's not like that because it looks like a seagull? No, apparently it's not. He just went, it just goes to show you. Things that you just think are just nothing. Just the guy going womp on his head and him going, oh, we got to run out there. And his hair's like that. That became their whole signature. Everybody remembers that. When you think of Flock of Seagulls, you remember that hair. And lots of people were wearing their hair like that, right? We had people in our English class that had, hair like that. Lori Moan, maybe. Yeah. Salty Tears. Yeah. Not just a book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull is also a movie and a Neil Diamond album. I wanted to mention that because what I did is, I sometimes take a deep dive on this show. And I actually, at 2 o'clock in the morning last night, watched the movie Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And I recommend this movie to anybody. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like, I had read when I was a kid, I read this book called Illusions by the same writer, Richard Bach. And Richard Bach, apparently when he wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull, it was a similar thing to what happened to the band Flock of Seagulls when the Stranglers lead singer pointed to them and said, "Flock of seagulls." And they were like, what? And then they just named their band and then they became hugely popular. Hugely popular. Same thing happened to Richard Bach. He's walking along and all of a sudden somebody yells from behind him, "Jonathan Livingston Seagull." This is the way he describes it. "Jonathan Livingston Seagull." And he turns around and there wasn't a seagull there like when I turned around, but there was nobody there. Neil Diamond, right, Neil Diamond. And so there was nobody there, and he went home because he was a writer. Joey Munster, interesting. Hairstyle has caught on as well. It's called bedhead, yeah. So he turns around, nobody's there. And he went home, and he was a writer, so he just sat there, and he thought, I should write, because obviously I've been somehow, divine intervention or something like that. And he couldn't write for a long time, and he's sitting there, and he finally was about to give up, and all of a sudden he says, this is what he says, and I don't know, he's tripping. I don't know if he's like Jim Carrey. He's reached some kind of new level of consciousness, but he said the wall opened up, and the whole movie of the book just played out in front of him, and he started writing. It wasn't even the whole movie of the book, because what he did is he started writing short stories called Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and it was about a seagull. And the thing about Richard Bach is he was a pilot, and he loved flying. And so he wrote this book about this seagull that loved flying, and he would fly really high up, leaving his flock behind, and he'd be like way up in the sky, and it got, it's kind of dangerous, and the flock members were pissed. They got really angry with him. Finally, the lead Seagull said, "Look, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, you are banished. You are banished. You have to get out of here." And so he kicked him out of the thing. So the Seagull was just like going around the world confused, wandering around, hanging out with horses, hanging out with other animals in the rain. May want to fact check, but I think seagull couples mate for life. Oh, interesting. I know seagulls live 10 to 15 years or something. They live a long time. I love the song Cracklin' Rosie. Is that a Flock of Seagulls song? Oh, Neil Diamond song maybe? I'm thinking Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond, so in the movie, it's not like animated seagulls. It is like real seagulls. It's kind of like that, I don't know, what was that movie, March of the Penguins, where you're just like real penguins. I'm always amazed by these people that make movies starring animals. So it stars this seagull, and it is so compelling and riveting and feels good to watch this movie. And it doesn't hurt that they've got these long Neil Diamond songs. And I think Neil Diamond is probably one of the most underrated performers, at least by my generation, because we kind of, would make fun of him. But I do remember in college, my friend Berge Hovsepian, his parents made him go to a Neil Diamond concert. And he was like, I can't go see a Neil Diamond concert. And he went to it. And when he came back, he was like, Neil Diamond is one of the greatest performers living. He said it was such an incredible concert. He said it was just him just jamming up there. Neil Diamond. And Jack, likes the song Cracklin' Rosie. So Sweet Caroline, they're great Neil Diamond songs. So I'm flabbergasted at how marginalized Neil Diamond was in my generation, at least. Anyway, see the movie, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. The thing totally played out in his mind. He wrote all these stories. He said 8 years later, after writing for a long time, he woke up in the middle of the night and the end of the movie came to his mind. And they're the end of the book. And so he put the whole thing together in a book, and he sent it to a publisher, and he was like, can we make this into a book? And the publisher was like, no way. He said they came back to him really fast, and they were like, no. And he was like, oh, okay. And they said, well, we'll make 5,000 copies. So they decided to make 5,000 copies. It ended up selling 1 million copies within 2 years. It's a metaphor for life. I just wanted to say at the very end of the movie, a couple of quotes that I pulled out were, break the chains of your thought and you'll break the chains of your body. I think that's a good one. Sometimes we have to look inward, figure out what's keeping us from, reaching our full potential. I think that's pretty much says it all. Also, look with your understanding. Find out what you already know. So that's kind of deep too. I'm going to leave you all with that. We got a dance break happening here. Let's get into it. It's one of my, Todd. I always think of Todd Lee when I say one of my favorites because I say that about a lot of people. Jack says, I feel that same way about the movie Beethoven. That dog deserved an Oscar. Yeah, some of these animals are just so soulful, you know what I mean? And they're like good actors. But, obviously a lot of it has to do with the editing. It's because he's a Boston Red Sox and a Pats fan, although I do like blue jeans. Oh, that's why we don't like him? That's why we don't like Forever in Blue Jeans. I mean, I probably know like 20 of his songs. Ridiculous. Let's see what Matt Wright says. It occupied a similar place in our home as Free to Be You and Me. Maybe people in the chat room could put what the first album they ever bought was. Their first one they bought. And I don't know, some of you might not even know what an album is, but most of you do. 70s pop spirituality that wasn't too heretical for Christians. Sometimes, no, I get it. Heretical. God, yeah. Vocabulary's good. I'm singing Bobby Brown or Billy Ocean. I'm singing Neil Diamond at karaoke. See, you don't have a thing on it, Jack. You don't have a thing on it like we do. People defer to animals. Not that free to be you and me is spiritual, but that good humanist opening stuff. Yeah. This has been that kind of show, I think. It's been a little bit of free to be me and you, break the chains. So we're going to have a dance break here. This guy's great. I know you like him. Let's get into this thing. If people could put in the chat room what their first album they bought was. And, it could be anything. Mine was, I believe the first album that I bought was Fly Like an Eagle, right? Steve Miller Band. Let's see what Todd says here. I bought 10 for a penny from Columbia Records. 10 of them. You bought them all? 10 at once? Fleetwood Mac, Cheech and Chong, Elton John, Supertramp, AC/DC. This show broke the chains, didn't it? I feel like we broke some chains. All right, let's get into the dance break. Jefferson Starship, I like that. Wasn't it Airplane though at that time maybe? This guy's great, Adam Pearce.
I bet you're wondering how I knew about your plans to make me blue with some other guy that you knew before. Between the two of us guys, you know I love you more. It took me by surprise, I must say, when I found out yesterday. Ooh yeah, and I heard it through the grapevine.
Survivor?
Not much longer would you be mine.
Tried to have a happy song today.
And I'm just about to lose my
mind. It's actually a sad song that feels happy.
And I know a man ain't supposed to cry, but these tears I can't hold inside. You mean that much to me. You could have told me yourself that you found someone else. Instead, I heard it through the grapevine. Not much longer would you be mine. Ooh, and I heard it through the grapevine. And I'm just about to lose my mind, honey, honey, yeah.
I remember looking for the American Werewolf in London soundtrack forever. Could never find it. Never found it. Had Creedence Clearwater Revival.
I can't help being confused. If it's true, don't you tell me here. Do you plan to let me go for some other guy that you used to know? Ooh yeah, and I heard it through the grapevine. Not much longer would you be mine. Yeah, and I heard it through the grapevine. And I'm just about to lose my mind, honey, honey, yeah.
Wasn't the Big Chill where they prepared dinner and played the song? Is that what it was? All right, AdamPearceMusic.com. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Woo-hoo.